Good morning, students. I'm pleased to meet you through this video. Today, we will study how to write answer for the essay typed questions. For that purpose, I have taken two poems. The Soldier, written by Robert Brooke, and Decorum Est, written by Owen. Let me read the question first. Critically analyze the themes of the poems The Soldier by Robert Brooke and Decorum Est, written by Owen. I'm reading a model answer. The World War I has brought numerous experiences to the entire world, including the countries which formed Central Powers and allied nations in the history. While the poem The Soldier, written by Robert Brooke, highlights the early enthusiasm of British people in participating in the war during 1914, Wilfred Owen's poem Decorum Est unfolds the harsh reality of the war as the general public experienced in the later years. Let's analyze them in detail in the following paragraphs. This is the introduction paragraph of the answer. Next, the body part of the answer begins. The first paragraph of the body part. The poem The Soldier by Robert Brooke presents a strong patriotic feeling of a soldier as the speaker in the poem is prepared to give his own precious life for his country, England. According to the speaker, England has been a nurturing paradise which shows the solid bonds between the speaker and the country. For a person, it is his life which is the most precious object in this world. However, when we see his readiness to gift it for the requirement of his country, it is his patriotic feeling which must have driven him to this extent. Therefore, the poem celebrates the madness of love for the country, which reminds us how this ideology was a hit with the people at the time of the war. Truly speaking, it was a good piece used for war propaganda. However, when the poem Decorum Est, written by Wilfred Owen, is concerned, the writer criticized the false perception of people over the concept patriotism. I'm reading the lines of the poems. My friends, you would not tell with such high chest to children ardent for some desperate glory, the old lie. Decorum est pro patria more. The above lines heavily criticize the concept of patriotism as the nature of death is so cruel and pathetic for a soldier in a battlefield. According to Wilfred Owen, risking one's life for honor of his or her country is meaningless. Interestingly, it has been an illusion, and worldwide, it is being used as a sheer trick by the people in power and authority to recruit youngsters for the armies. As such, this reminds us the universal major practice used for strengthening manpower by all armies to fight in their battlefields. This further emphasizes how public are misguided by wrong perceptions towards ultimate destructions. This is what Alfred Lord Tennyson mentions in the poem, The Charge of the Light Brigade, through the following lines. Into the valley of death, into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell. Whoever goes to the battlefield, they are running towards their own death, not anything else. The above lines well explain the ferocious nature of war and how one ruins himself by engaging in a battle without knowing its true destinations. In the poem, The Soldier, England is personified, and further its tenderness has been enhanced to the characteristics of a woman, especially to a mother person who has been a prime responsibility for giving birth to any being in this world. For the speaker, his England is heaven, and it is beautiful to see his perceptions on English heaven, where he prefers to be even after his death. Thus, the poem presents the concepts heaven and England as the interchangeable places in the speaker's life. In this way, his strong patriotic desire has been seriously presented as he wishes to enrich the soil with his past, present, and future engagements for the glory of his homelands. When the poem Dulce et Decorum Est is concerned, the poem presents the horror and trauma of war as the harsh reality. The said glory shows no way to overcome the destruction that the same war has caused. The message communicated in this poem correlates with the subject presented in the poem War is Kind, written by Stephen Crane. Is war kind? No. It brings no soothing to people except miseries and agonies. War creates direct and indirect victims. This is what's emphasized in the poem Monuments, written by the Sri Lankan author Kamala Vijayaratne on the war, what Sri Lankans experience in their homelands. Monuments reveals how aged parents become helpless, distressed, and poor when they lose their young children to the war in these islands. Therefore, vulnerability and victimization in war are universal. Innocent people get trapped into the fang of war, irrespective of their color, race, religion, language, and region, as Ernest Hemingway presented in his short story, Old Man at the Bridge. Further, the poem The Soldier promotes the courage and the psychological capacity of the speaker as a soldier. Though the speaker predicts his death in the war field, he willingly accepts it due to his love for his nation, and it is notable that this poem is written from a soldier's point of view. However, as far as the poem Dulce et Decorum Est is concerned, the writer sadly unfolds how an armed soldier fails to bear his own death in the battlefield, which demotivates the positive factors to be a soldier in any nation. Pathetically, it has been an unacceptable fact, even for a trained soldier, for such encounters in battlefields. It is interesting to note that the poem The Soldier features the death in a war field as a result of life fulfillment, a kind of successful achievement of a true citizen. This has been a common indicator of lack of awareness and elusive image which is passed for generations regarding the painful consequences of wars. However, the detailed descriptions of the dying soldiers in Wilfred Owen's poem do not show any such peace or relief in the phenomenon death in the battlefield. Rather, it has been presented as a horror incident any person should witness in this world at any time. When the act of witnessing is portrayed as a tragedy, the intensity of the harm it causes is wordless when someone is experiencing it in person. In this way, the writer is successful in portraying its terrible nature. Also, while the poem The Soldier has been a posh view about the war, the poem Dulce et Decorum Est stands for the harsh reality which the World War I taught. Further, the poem highlights that war brings no peace. It brings only miseries and agonies. Wilfred Owen's poem reveals how a soldier suffers physically as well as mentally before he is killed in the battlefield. According to him, it is a hidden reality of war, what many in power overlook. When these two poems are analyzed, readers can easily realize the perception of people before the tragedy a war brings to its people, and the scenario where people live after experiencing the painful war encounters. When the titles of these poems are concerned, the soldier indicates a member of an army. However, we could not guess whether the speaker has positive or negative views on war. Further, the subject of this poem elaborates how an idealized version of a soldier should be. The narrator here is unlike the soldier narrator in the poem, An Irish Airman Foresees His Death, written by William Butler, because the narrator in this poem expresses a sense of detachment towards what he does in the war field. When Wilfred Owen's Latin title is concerned, on the surface level, it encourages the reader towards waging or engaging in a war. But when the subject of this poem is concerned, the title is mockery and reveals a paradoxical point of view. Even though it seems to be an honor and a glory for a person to line up in a battlefield, the actual picture of the scenario is not so. It is a mixture of painful emotions on the tragedy with sudden deaths and injuries. In conclusion, the poems mentioned in the questions bring two different contrasting views regarding the subject war, patriotism, war, glory and honor, heroism, nationalism, death, miseries, and agonies have been some of the themes which have been dealt by the writers in these poems. While the poem The Soldier is packed with joyful emotions of the speaker in serving as army personnel who fight on behalf of Britain, the poem Dulce et Decorum Est has been the cruel truth, what the entire world has learned through the consequences of World War I. I came to the end of this video. I encourage the students to write a similar paragraph in the comments in order to have enough practices and strengthen the information, your understanding of this poem. Thank you.